Hello, you're watching VNA News Agency Daily Bulletin, and now the headlines. Vietnamese writers and artists gather for National Congress. Cham Island to be linked to national power grid. Rice exports forecast to flourish in 2016. The Vietnam Union of Literary and Arts Associations convened its 9th National Congress in Hanoi over January 8 and 9. The event drew the participation of 475 delegates representing more than 40,000 writers and artists nationwide. The Congress defined the Union's key tasks for 2016 and 2021 as developing Vietnamese artists comprehensively in both quantity and quality. The aim is to boost creativity in artworks that will help nurture Vietnamese people's soul by focusing on the values of sound morality, personality, and lifestyle. Addressing the event, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, Nguyễn Phú Trọng, hailed the attainments Vietnamese writers and artists have reached over the past 7 decades, noting that they have continually accompanied the nation during the revolutionary cause. He asked the association to make comprehensive reforms in its organization and operations so as to provide a favorable environment for creation for its members. He also told the association to thoroughly prepare for popularizing the 12th National Party Congress, slated for late January. More than 300 outstanding press journals of various Vietnamese newspapers across different historical periods are being displayed at a week-long exhibition in Ho Chi Minh City. Let's take a look. The publications give visitors insights into the course of development of Vietnam's press in the past 150 years. Viewers also have a chance to gaze on original publications released by Vietnam's first newspapers and those of the Vietnamese revolutionary press, including Sự Thật, Nhân Dân, and Độc Lập. Despite ups and downs, as well as the country's historical changes, Vietnam's press has been performing its significant role in recording and reflecting events in many realms, including politics, culture, and society. Co-hosted by the Vietnam News Agency and the Nhã Nam Culture and Communications Company, the exhibition will run until January 19. A project to connect Cham Island in the central province of Quảng Nam to the national power grid kick-started on January 9. The project includes 15 kilometers of 20 kilovolt undersea cables and 6 transformer stations. It is built at a total investment of over 485 billion Vietnam dong, or $22 million, and is expected to be completed by June 30th this year. The project, which is part of an overall plan to promote socio-economic and cultural development on the island, will ensure a sustainable power supply for 2,500 islanders, based 18 kilometers off the coast of Hoi An Asian town. Linking Cham Island to the national grid will also contribute to protecting national sea and island sovereignty. The island was recognized as a World Biosphere Reserve by the UNESCO in 2009. It welcomes around 50,000 tourists annually. Rice exports has thrived since the outset of this year, as already signed contracts remain effective, while import demand from foreign countries is high. More in the following report. According to the Vietnam Food Association, around 500,000 to 600,000 tons of rice will be delivered under future contracts, and some 200,000 tons will be shipped abroad under commercial contracts, which were signed for the first quarter of this year. Meanwhile, not much rice remains in stock as previous years. This is good news for rice exporters. The association forecasts that rice exports in the first half of this year will prosper as major importers like the Philippines, China, Indonesia, and Malaysia will soon sign rice import contracts to stabilize food supplies and cope with possible drought impact caused by El Niño. Earlier, the Philippines National Food Authority has announced its plans to buy at least 50,000 tons of rice from Vietnam and Thailand, while the Indonesian government planned to purchase around 350,000 tons of rice in the first quarter of this year. China will remain an important importer of Vietnam rice not only in 2016 but also in the coming years. Vietnam exported almost 6.7 million tons of rice in 2015. The Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers expects the country's tuna export turnover will increase by 8% this year to $507 million. More details coming up next.
Statistics from the association showed that tuna exports fetched nearly $470 million last year, with fresh and frozen fish accounting for 54%. The exports went to 105 markets, with the US being the largest buyer, followed by the EU, ASEAN, and Japan. Tuna exports to the US were estimated at $190 million, a year-on-year increase of 8.6%, making Vietnam one of the largest exporters to the market. Exports to ASEAN member countries increased by 24% last year, but exports to the EU and Japan were down by nearly 20% and 10% respectively. In the case of Japan, fresh and frozen tuna shipments were down, while export of processed tuna enjoyed good growth. The depreciation of the yen affected exports to Japan, though volumes recovered at the end of the year, but tuna export revenues have been dropping relentlessly in the past 4 years. Global demand for the fish recovered in the third quarter of last year and is expected to increase further this year. With the free trade agreement the country has signed, Vietnamese tuna would attract lower import tariffs in those markets compared to its competitors. An ongoing trial project for tuna fishing, buying, processing and consumption is expected to help improve its quality and competitiveness.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has recently asked for the restructuring of crop production in order to further develop the agricultural sector.
The ministry said the crop production holds an extremely important position in agricultural production. However, the sector is vulnerable to disasters, climate change, and changes in the world market. Crop production now accounts for 73% of the agriculture sector's GDP. The export revenue of farm produce makes up more than half of the total agriculture export value. The crop production sector contributes 7 of the 10 major agricultural products, earning over $1 billion from the export annually. Vietnam is now the world's largest exporter of pepper and cashew nuts, and the world's second biggest exporter of coffee and rice. In addition, the quality of several agricultural products has been improving in recent years. Vietnamese rice, lychee, dragon fruit, long yen, and tea have found their way to choosy markets like the US, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and the EU. The crop production sector enjoys an average annual growth of 3%. And has contributed to ensuring food safety and alleviating poverty and hunger.
The central city of Da Nang has set a goal of attracting 5.2 million visitors, including 1.3 million foreign tourists in 2016. More details in the following report. The city's tourism sector also targeted a total revenue of 14.9 trillion Vietnam dong, or $677.2 million, an increase of 17% over 2015. Apart from domestic visitors, tourism administrators will continue to attract those from Japan, the Republic of Korea, China, India, Australia, the Middle East, and Russia. The sector is expected to generate 27,000 jobs and develop human resources to meet ASEAN tourism professional standards. Da Nang received nearly 4.7 million visitors in 2015. Notably, the number of foreign tourists to the city surpassed the 1 million mark for the first time, up 34% over the previous year. Skilled laborers from an ASEAN nation are now enabled to work in another regional country following the establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community on December 31, 2015. The free movement of skilled laborers is seen as a good chance for Vietnamese businesses to deal with the shortage of personnel. Ranking in the top 10 of Vietnam's tourism companies, this travel agency is planning to employ more tourism workers from other ASEAN countries to realize the target of enlarging its share in the regional market.
Tôi nghĩ là việc hội nhập kinh tế ASEAN.
I think the ASEAN economic community definitely facilitates the cross-border movement of tourism workers and skilled laborers in other fields. Our company is willing to recruit skilled laborers from ASEAN member countries.
Để bù đắp cho những thiếu hụt lao động có chất lượng cao trong công ty.
The ASEAN economic community is expected to push up economic growth in the region and create an additional 14 million jobs for the whole region by 2025. It will also offer 6 million jobs in Vietnam. Tourism is one of the 8 sectors enjoying the free flow of skilled workers, but they're only allowed to move to work in another regional country when their qualifications are recognized by the target ASEAN nation under the Mutual Recognition Arrangements framework.
In regard to the operations of my hotel, I absolutely support the cross-border movement of tourism workers because it is advantageous to the hotel.
According to the Ministry of Labour, Invalids and Social Affairs, the movement of skilled workers in the region poses challenges to Vietnam's labour management agencies, forcing them to balance the granting of work permits to ASEAN skilled labourers with the adoption of technical barriers to protect jobs for domestic workers.
The labor movement is forecast to bring about challenges since it will encourage Vietnamese workers to leave for their promising land in the region. But on the other hand, this is a good chance for us to employ high-skilled laborers we are in need of. The international integration always creates both opportunities and challenges.
This IT outsourcing service provider is willing to receive skilled laborers from other ASEAN countries in order to expand its market share.
We always want to employ professional IT engineers and other skilled laborers from both at home and abroad to turn our company into a leading provider of automatic technology services in Asia.
Besides engineering, the labor movement will also benefit Vietnam's healthcare sector, encouraging foreign medical experts to work in Vietnam.
Previously, we planned to recruit doctors and medical experts from the regional countries before the formation of the ASEAN Economic Community. Actually, we have been employing a Philippine dentist for 3 years, and we are absolutely pleased with her performances. We hope to employ more and more doctors from other ASEAN countries in the time to come.
Well, I hope to work a longer period of time, and I hope to extend my working time here, most especially in the hospital, because I love working here. And I hope that there will be more staff or more doctors like me who would like to work in this hospital. So I would like to see other people growing with me for this profession in this hospital as well, I hope.
Preliminary statistics showed that more than 76,000 foreign laborers are working and living in Vietnam. With the establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community, the figure is expected to rise remarkably in the years to come. And that's the end of our program. Thank you for watching and see you next time.